Hi, guys. It's Miss Mindy in for Miss Karen again today. Well, she's off doing hopefully something really fun and exciting. Um, when I was thinking about what I should kind of talk about this week, I asked my daughter, and I was like, "What are things that are on your mind right now?" And she started blah, about like all sorts of stuff that's on her mind, and a lot of it, like most of us, is around coronavirus. And it was a lot of like, what if? I'm worried. I'm worried about what if I get sick? I'm worried what if you get sick? I'm wondering when I'm going to see my friends again. And what if I don't go back to school? And what if I can't see my grandparents this summer? And a lot of what if, what if, what if, what if. That made me think, yeah, that's how a lot of us are feeling. That anxiety, fear, whole lot of those what ifs. And I know how I feel when I feel that way. I get like a little pit in my stomach, like a little tingly, or sometimes it almost feels like a drop, like I'm going on a roller coaster. Like all of a sudden, this thought will pop into my head, and my stomach will drop. I'll be like, "What if that happens?" And that's been happening more and more lately because there's just so much going on and so many unknowns. And I thought, I'm feeling this way. She's feeling this way. Everybody I've talked to is feeling this way. I bet you guys are too. And I brought a friend here to kind of help demonstrate ways that maybe we can help with that. Let's call him Bob. Get it? SpongeBob. So this is Bob. I'm going to angle this down a little bit. Bob is happy here, floating in the water. Let's see if I can get a better angle here so you can really see Bob floating. But then Bob starts to think like, what if? What if I get sick? What if I don't get to go back to school this year? What if I don't get to see my friends soon? Oh, Bob is weighed down with all of those what ifs. What if, what if, what if? I know it's how I feel sometimes too, kind of weighed down, heavy. And sometimes it seems like nothing can help. Let's see if there's some things that help Bob. Bob tried taking a few deep breaths, took a few deep breaths, and then went for a walk, got some fresh air, a little exercise. Bob felt a little bit lighter. Then Bob talked to his mom. He's like, Mom, you know what? I'm worried. And, she talked to Bob about his worries and expressed to him that, she's doing what she can to take care of him and everything will be okay. That lifted one more off. He felt a little bit better. And then finally, Bob prayed and he asked God to help him out. Look after me, God, and help me realize just you, I'm in your hands. That made Bob happy again and felt like all of those weights have been lifted. And I know that that's helped me. Normally, I get those what ifs and those running around my head in the middle of the night where I don't really have anyone to talk to. Not, I mean, I could wake up my husband, he'd probably be mad at me. Probably not going to go for a walk or exercise. I have gotten up and kind of stretched a little bit before, but I can always, 100% of the time, talk to God. He's always there, no matter what else is going on. I'm going to move Bob so that I don't spill him on my husband's work. He'd be really mad. And I thought of a story, a little Bible story about Jesus that kind of goes with this fear and this anxiety. And it's Jesus calms the storm. I bet most of you have heard this one or kind of know this one, but it's such a good story. God is in charge. Jesus calms the storm. Let's go to the other side of the lake, Jesus suggested one day, wanting to find a quiet place to rest. He and his disciples got into a boat and started sailing. Bright sunlight sparkled on the water, and gentle waves rocked Jesus to sleep. But while he napped, the wind began to blow, and waves crashed into the deck. The boat was filling with water, and the disciples were terrified that it would sink. Master, Master, they cried, wake up, we are going to drown. Jesus stood up and spoke quietly to the wind. Calm down. And to the waves he said, peace, be still. Suddenly, the wind stopped blowing, the waves stopped crashing, and all was peaceful once again. Jesus turned to his friends. Why were you afraid? Don't you trust God to protect you? The disciples stared at each other with their mouths hanging open in amazement. Who is this man? Even the wind and the waves obey him. A little prayer at the end. Dear God, help me trust you when I am afraid. I really like that prayer at the end because sometimes it's easier said than done. Well, I think most of the time it's easier said than done. Like, yep, I'm going to give all my fear and anxiety to God. Poof. I wish it worked that way. At least for me, I know it doesn't. I try, I pray, and I do feel better. I absolutely feel better. But then the thoughts come back again. And I have a little activity that I thought maybe we can try. If I can find a piece of paper here. Let me grab one. All right. Get your piece of paper and tear it, cut it, however you want to do it in, I don't know, 4, 6 squares, rectangles, whatever shape you want. You can't mess this up. And on your scraps of paper, write down or draw or even just think about it. Something that you're anxious, you're scared about. So I'm going to write down getting sick. And I'm going to write down school. We don't know what's happening with school yet. And even when we do know what's happening, there's still going to be a lot of fear and anxiety around that. I'm going to write down fun. I mean, we still need to have fun. And sometimes it's harder to find some things that are fun. Those are just some examples. You can write down anything else that you want that pops into your head. I'll wait a minute, give you a chance to do that, or you can do it later if you want. But when you do it, if you do it now or later, take each little slip of paper and say this little prayer. God, help me to trust you when I am afraid. And then crumple it up and throw it. God, help me to trust you when I am afraid. God, help me to trust you when I am afraid. If nothing else, throwing them over your shoulder is pretty fun. That made me feel a little better. But kind of like Bob, our little SpongeBob, I'm feeling a little lighter. I'm feeling like, okay, God took some of that pressure off. I'm feeling a little better today. And just one more thing to leave you with, is a little Bible verse, again, that I really like, which kind of speaks to me. And I like the verse from the Message version of the Bible because it's so simple, so easy to understand. Sometimes those verses in the Bible, I'm like, I don't even know what you're trying to say. This one was Psalm verse 46, and it's God is a safe place to hide, ready to help when we need him. You can't get much more simple than that, and that makes me feel so good. God is a safe place to hide, ready to help when we need him. I almost forgot. What made me what made me think of this story, the Jesus calms the storm, was a story that I heard in the car. My daughter and I were in the car the other day. We were listening to the radio, and the DJ was talking about crazy weather phenomena that people have been seeing lately. And she said that I think it was a friend of hers took a picture of like this crazy storm, huge storm, dark clouds, super dark storm, stormy sky, and right in the middle of it, there was a hole in the clouds with a big light shining through. And my daughter said, "That's so cool. That was God." I was like, "Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's God's way of showing us, like, even in the middle of the storm, I'm still here." So ask God to help you when you're scared. And just remember, even in the middle of the storm, God is there for you. Thank you. I'll see you again next week.